My guest is Mike Molinaro, and it's time once again for this is actually the 7th annual Colony Film Festival. So that's 7. Yes, you've missed all these films all this time. It's kind of a dual purpose, though. You're showcasing these films, but there's also workshops so people can see the cool stuff you can do. So when does it actually start, and what's it cost to get in for the weekend?
Sure. Well, it's this weekend, October 12th and 13th. It starts Friday. At 6 o'clock is actually when we start. It is $10 for the day or $15 a weekend. We do have student rates, so if you're a student, come on down. We'll give you a good deal.
Now, how long have people been turning these films in? Because this is not stuff that people just did last week. People actually sent in applications and met certain requirements so that you're going to, you don't want just any kind of film.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've been accepting films now for ever since the last year's film festival. It died down, and then, right after Christmas, we would start putting out deadlines for the next year. I believe August was the deadline for this year. So,
wow.
And we get films from all over the United States. I mean, California, New York. One cool thing about this year is, we still get them from New York, and we still get them from California, but this year in particularly, we've got more local films than usual, which I really like because I want to create that networking in the Mid-Ohio Valley, which I think is great.
I've noticed that's one thing. In the music business, there's a lot of competition. My band this, your band that. But in the filmmaking, it's more of a collab. And I know there's some of this, but in the filmmaking, it's kind of like, hey, I need someone to help lighting on my film. Well, hey, you got some cameras, or you've done some other type of stuff, or I need some set building. There seems to be more of a collaboration, and so that networking is even more and more important when you're getting into filmmaking.
Absolutely. I've met quite a few people in the film industry at the Colony Film Festival, and they're great people. Like you said, you may meet somebody that does audio, you may meet a guy that does lighting, and they say, hey, I'll help you out on that next time. Nowadays, we've been getting more actors in there even, and you mentioned musicians. We're getting musicians that want to use their music for a soundtrack, so it's great.
Now let me ask you about this, because I know the other thing that has changed, not only has the technology changed so it doesn't cost as much, location. While there's people who still go to Hollywood to make their great fortune, there's people right here in West Virginia that may have gone and come back or have made great films right here that become famous. And you actually have someone who's kind of done the left and come back, and that's going to be your keynote speaker.
That's true. We do have Jacob Young, who did The Dancing Outlaw. But just to touch base about, you talked about doing films in New York City and California, and the problem with that is you've got to go through all this red tape to get permits for this and that. Whereas if you do a film here in Marietta, Belpre, Parkersburg, the city, they want to see that happen. If you remember when Steven Soderbergh came here, we just opened up gave him the key to the city. So, there's no red tape when you're doing a film locally like Parkersburg as opposed to New York. So, Jacob Young, yes, as you mentioned, he is our keynote speaker, and as everybody knows, The Dancing Outlaw, which is the story of Jesco White. That's kind of a real famous documentary, and I was fortunate enough to get Jacob Young to come in this year and be our keynote speaker. Now, what we're going to do is Saturday at 7 o'clock, we're going to screen The Dancing Outlaw, and then there'll be a small break around 8:15 to 9 o'clock, and then at 9 o'clock...
For people to recover.
Right?
If they've never seen that film, you need a little chance to go, what did I just see?
That's right. It's really a nutty...
It's an amazing film, but at the same time, you're like, are people really like that? Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
In Boone County, West Virginia. Yeah. And then at 9 p.m., he will give the keynote presentation. And I believe what he is trying to express is no matter how difficult it is to put together a film, no matter how much you want to quit and give up, don't give up. Keep going on and finish that project, because who knows, you may come up with a project like he did. It went worldwide. So Jacob is one person that would know all about that.
Let me ask you, also have a workshop on Saturday morning for people who want to get into certain things as well, and the person that's doing that also is started out here locally and has moved back to the area and runs a studio in when he's here in Huntington.
Huntington, West Virginia, that's right. Brad Kalinowski is our workshop presenter, and it will be Saturday at 10 a.m. Now, what does Brad do? Well, he does anything and everything post-production, whether it be editing supervisor, special effects, coloring.
So if you've seen some of those behind the scenes and you've seen them, doing a Men in Black, in front of a green screen so they can do stuff, he's the guy that comes in later and adds the monster or supervises adding those other pieces back in to make the actual film.
Right, and you mentioned Men in Black. Actually, he worked on Men in Black. He worked on Spider-Man, Pirates of the Caribbean, Blades of Glory. He won an Academy Award for Black Swan. People know about the TV show Lost. I mean, this guy is the real deal, and he's really going to spread a lot of information to people that are interested.
Now, if people are interested and didn't bring their pen to class, is there a website they can get all this information, including the tickets and the schedule and all that?
Absolutely. You can go to the colonyfilmfestival.com, or you can call at 740-373-1098.
7th Annual Colony Film Festival. It is coming up on October the 12th and 13th, this Friday and Saturday. And it's actually what's called the Colony Film Festival. It's across the street at the Players Theater.
That's right.
On Putnam Street.
Mid-Ohio Valley Players Theater. It's on 227 Putnam Street in Marietta.
All right. Thank you very much. More in a moment on News Talk 910 WLTP.